Welcome to part 2 of our training series, How to Create Happy Customers Who Come Back Time and Time Again and Enthusiastically Tell Others About You. Let's get right into it. Hey, Boomer, how about you? If you could pick one thing out of Nordstrom to teach your managers, what would it be?
Well, great minds think alike. There's no doubt about that, and that is treating our staff as internal customers, with the concept that the better we train them, the better we treat them, the better we support the staff, the better they'll serve our customers. And that's what that's all about. I have a suggestion box downstairs, and we get all kinds of things coming in, pros and cons. And as you know well, Keith, the people who write negative and positive are your loyal customers because they care enough to let you know what's going on. And I take those things, and if there's a comment written there about a certain individual, then I put it out in a memo that it's been there, or I'll walk. To be very honest, sometimes I'll just walk downstairs and hand them a $20 bill and say, "Thank you. You made a loyal customer today, and that's worth a heck of a lot of money. Here, go home and have some dinner on Boomer."
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. And the idea of the internal customers is critical to Nordstrom customer service. And that is that, our customers, our external customers, if you will, are what we all think of as our customers. But when we talk about Nordstrom or the Happy Customer Handbook, we also talk about the internal customer. And the internal customer is anyone who depends on the quality of your job, which means it's every coworker you have. It's, in our case, it's the FedEx guy. It's the mailman even. Our internal customers are also our vendors who supply us things. If we look at those people as customers and that we know that they can't do their job properly unless we do our job properly, that's critically important when it comes to getting things done right. And we talk about that often. We talk about the internal customer and making sure that they're not just a coworker, they're your customer. And that's critically important. And Boomer, you also hit on it too when you said complaints. The people who complain are your best customers, and most people just walk away and go somewhere else when they don't get the kind of customer service that they want.
Exactly.
And you have somebody that complains about either your customer service or anything, a product, anything else, those are gold. One of my good friends, Lee Miltier, calls complaints a gift. They're your gift to do two things primarily. Number one, to take care of that client right then and there, to help them, to fix them, to make sure that they know. It's really your ability to wow them when they have a complaint. We love. Nobody really likes to get complaints, but we think it's our time to shine. When we get a complaint, it's our time to shine and wow the client to make sure that they understand that, oh my gosh, if I had this happen somewhere else, I wouldn't have this kind of results in it if it happened somewhere else. And then the other part of complaints is it gives you a chance to go back to your systems. One of the things we talk about is to look at your systems first rather than to look at your people. So if you have a problem happening in your business, the first thing that you want to do is you want to look at the systems. Was there a system in the way? Was there or a lack of a system, a lack of anything in writing, type of thing that needs to be resolved or trained differently first, and then look at retraining the individual. But again, those complaints give you two opportunities. Number one, to take care of that client. Number two, to go back and then change your system so it doesn't happen to another person again. So we love complaints. One of the things that happens when you implement this kind of customer service, you get those complaints because people care enough to complain. They know that it's not normal for you, so they'll tell you when your service or your products or whatever were abnormally low. And Boomer, you talked about what we call attaboys and attagirls down there. One of the things that we do, and one of the things we teach in Out Nordstrom customer service, is to do attaboys and attagirls. And we used to call them something else. We used to call them some stuff. And one day, one of the people up here put attaboy in the subject line of the email, and we started calling them attaboys and attagirls. And that is, as a manager, you for sure want to do this, but then you want to make sure, but then you want to get your team to do it too. And that is, anytime that they see somebody give extraordinary Out Nordstrom customer service, either internal or external great customer service, they put that out to everybody else. Now, we're all on email, so we put that out via email. And we could have an email coming from the sales department that goes out to everybody again, but it may be somebody in sales giving a big pat on the back to somebody in purchasing that helped them get something done that needed to be done. Or somebody in, often it's a sales manager, for instance, that sees somebody that's done a great job and taking care of a customer, and that will go in there. Or it can be even going the other way. It can be purchasing, going back to somebody and saying, man, I know that was a difficult order to try and get everything, all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Thanks for doing that so well. But this becomes infectious. It ends up being like a good disease because people start complimenting each other, and then all of a sudden it kind of grows, and people are looking for those compliments to give each other, and people are looking to do more and more better customer service. So why is customer service so poor, and how to make sure it's never poor in your business? What should your customer service training look like? I do a lot of talking on customer service to various groups and whatever, and I ask this question almost every time. I says, what should your customer service look like? We tell our staff to deliver good customer service. They should know what that is. We tell our staff to deliver good customer service and give some examples sometimes, but nothing formal. We have meetings about customer service once in a while and tell everyone they should give good customer service. All new staff gets customer service training when they are hired. And E, everyone has gone through our customer service training, and they are consistently and persistently reminded about our customer service expectations. So I ask that when I do these trainings, talks and wherever I'm going and whatever, and I ask them, what should your customer service look like? And when I go through that, almost everyone says E. It should be, everyone has gone through our customer service training, and they are consistently and persistently reminded about our customer service expectations. Now, wherever we've had our book for sale, we ask them these questions. What describes your customer service? When somebody goes in and buys the book, we ask them, what describes your customer service as it is right now? 2% answer E. So that's why customer service is so poor, is that everybody knows they should have this training that everyone gets, and that the training is the same for everyone, and that it's reinforced all the time. Everyone knows that that's what it should be, but nobody does it. 2% do it. 58% are, we tell our staff to deliver good customer service and give some examples, but nothing formally. No wonder customer service is so poor almost everywhere that we go. And, I'll tell you that I think that customer service is the easiest and least expensive way to differentiate your business. The single most important thing you must do to create happy customers is train your team with your expectations and then reinforce that training. So train them with your expectations and then reinforce that with your training on an ongoing basis in your home. Your home. You guys, Boomer and Rolf, you talked about your favorite team member and your favorite manager secrets. We'll go back to Boomer. Boomer, what other thing in Out Nordstrom do you comes to mind as something that you'd like to share with the group here?
Well, just to give you a little background, I was an educator for 31 years. I was a teacher at the middle school level, and then a principal at the elementary and middle school level for 18 years, and then lastly was the superintendent of schools here in town. And one of the things that you learn is how to deal with children. Otherwise, you don't survive. And basically, you know, you were talking about training. Well, the same thing goes for education fields. You know, the first day of school, I forced my teachers to go through the manual, the procedures, the rules, so everybody knew what the expectations are. And until you do that, okay, there is something that said that you can spend minutes in training, or you're going to have hours of headaches.
Yeah, good.
And it's just that. Now, my major thing here, you asked me that question to answer it, is share the power. You know, there's an old saying that goes, all of us are smarter than any one of us, and I sure believe that, and I try to surround people who are at least as smart, and that doesn't have to go very far, but at least as smarter, if smarter than I am. But, you know, like you go in and buy a car, you know, nothing that drives me crazy is the salesman has to go back and forth and ask the next guy up, you know, can we do this? Can we do this? Well, here at Sea Lion Caves, I give not only my people the authority, but the responsibility to take care of a problem. They don't need to come in and talk to me and ask if it's okay. As long as that customer walks out of here happy, they got a smile on their face, we've resolved the problem, they've done their job greatly. And on top of that, I may not agree with what they did, and we may talk about it later, but in the midst of all this, I thank them for what they're doing. The customer walked out of here happy, and that's what it's all about.
That's great, and I that's why you're able to, you know, in one of the busiest days of your entire year, take you know, over an hour to be out of there, because you know that people are going to take care of things, and that you've given them the power and response. And not only I think you said the word responsibility. So you're not only you know, you're not only want them to do it, you're expecting them to do it. You're expecting them to take care of it. But then the other thing that you talked about is that the training up front, so that they understand that responsibility and that power, and they have an idea of what they can do and not do. But you know, the reality is that I think you probably find, Boomer, and probably you, Rolf, too, that most people will, before they do more than you would ever want them to do, they're going to get uncomfortable and come and ask you. So any of you that are out there thinking that if I give this responsibility to take care of frontline problems, the reality is they'll probably, you know, the number of problems coming to you will drop hugely, and you almost never have to worry about them doing too much, okay? But yet, they're going to take care of that client, and you're not going to have to be taking care of all these problems and issues and everything else. You know, I love it. We've got cordless headphones now here in the office, so every once in a while I'll hear a sales rep walk by my office, and I can hear by what they're saying that there's some kind of issue going on, there's some kind of problem going on, and I just think, oh my gosh, I'm glad I don't have to get involved with that, and they can just take care of it.
Well, you know, lots of times people will walk into your office, your staff, and they'll go, you've got a problem. And I always go, no, I don't have a problem. I didn't have a problem prior to you walking in here, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll help you with your problem. What do you think you should do? What do you think? And then they tell me, and I go, good idea, take care of it. And eventually, you know, they quit asking because they know that I support what they're doing, and their ideas are good.
Excellent, excellent. So, Rolf, how about one thing out about Nordstrom other than what we've talked about? You got something there?
You got to give me a minute here. I've been scribbling so many notes. This is just tons of great content. So thank you. So let's see. If I were to, one thing for my managers, it would be if an error occurs to look at the system before you look at the person.
Okay.
And then for all of my team members, it would be the Lear process.
Oh, talk to us about the Lear process.
Well, it's the process to use when you have a difficult or perhaps unhappy customer, which does occasionally show up in some of our businesses. And Lear stands for listen to what they have to say and let them say it all. And I think the way you put it in the program is so incredible. The way you say to interrupt them would be rude, and to interrupt them, they're going to start all over again anyway, because anytime we're upset, we always practice what we're going to say, and we practice from the beginning, not the end.
Right.
So just let them say the whole thing.
Yep.
Empathize with them, and then ask them, what can I do to make you happy? And the interesting thing there, as you point out, is they always ask for less than we were willing to give. And then whatever it is, resolve. And, you know, in retail, you kind of already know what it's going to take to make them happy. Yeah. But nevertheless, I think it's just an incredible process to empower people with.
Yeah. And one of the things, I'll put in a couple little notes here. Empathize. One of the biggest, to me, you know, the easiest one to use there for empathize is just simply, wow, I'm sure glad you told me so that we can help you. Just, wow, I'm sure glad you told me so we can help you. Or I can help you even better than we can help you. And then ask, what can I do to make you happy? Often you don't, what I train people with is, you know, often you don't have to ask. That's just kind of putting more in the way than needs to be in the way. But what's critical is that you do ask it sometimes, but what's critical is that whole attitude of what can I do to make you happy, as much as asking the actual words. But that's a Lear principle, L-E-A-R, listen, empathize, ask, and resolve. Okay, Boomer brought,
just a comment. You know, we talked about communication. I read on this quote the other day that I now have on my wall and I put down in my staff room, and it says, the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply. Think about that.
Yep. And I know I do that too often. I know I do it too often. And it's like, what are you going to say next? What am I going to say? Say that again. Listen.
The concept is, the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply.
Yeah, that's excellent.
That's great.
Excellent. I told you all that I was going to share the 235 most powerful words in customer service, and Boomer mentioned this right off the top, so I'm going to share those 235 words with you right now. I don't know where this came from, and I'll make sure that everyone on the call gets this also, though. But it's that whole idea of who's the boss, and again, we have this typed up on nice paper. It's in everybody's QB. Boomer and Rolf, I'm sure you have it around the office and whatever too, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, you got it, and just put it all kinds of places. And you know what? It doesn't hurt at all. It does not hurt at all. In fact, by saying that, I'm telling you, do this. Put it where customers can see it too. Can't hurt anything. Okay. There's only one boss, and whether a person shines shoes for a living or heads up the biggest corporation in the world, the boss remains the same, the customer. She is the person who pays everyone's salary and who decides whether a business is going to succeed or fail. She doesn't care if a business has been around for 100 years. The minute it starts treating her badly or taking her for granted, she'll put it out of business. The boss, the customer, has bought and will buy everything you have or will have. She's bought all of your clothes, your home, your car, pays for your children's education and your vacation. She pays all of your bills, and she pays in exact proportion to the way you treat her. The man who works inside the big office building or plant might think he works for the company that writes his paycheck, but he doesn't. He is working for the person who buys the product at the end of the line. In fact, the customer can fire everybody in the company from the president on down, and she can do it simply by spending her money somewhere else. Some of the largest companies that had flourishing businesses a few years ago are no longer in existence. They couldn't or didn't satisfy the customer. They forgot who the boss really is. Share that with your team and do the things you need to do to reinforce that every day in your business, and you're going to be one of those businesses that uses that sling that David used, and you're going to take down those Goliaths. Do you have any memorable moment about customer service and someone delivering it in your business?
I do, but actually before I do that, I would just like to go back to what you just said about the boss statement. We actually have taken that and we put it on every single team member's paycheck. On their stub, it prints, courtesy of the boss, your clients.
Good idea.
And that just shows you how you can reinforce that idea everywhere. But literally one of the things I tell them up front is I don't ever pay you. I've never once taken $1 out of my personal bank account and paid anyone. It all comes from the customer. It all comes from the register. The boss is the one who pays you, not me.
Yeah, and I think you shared that with me a number of years ago, and you put that courtesy of the boss, our customer, and we started doing that a number of years ago on our pay stubs too. So thanks for that. Did you have any other?
One of the cool things of having a group that actually focuses on customer service is you can share ideas back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Any memorable moment?
I do. I think the important thing with customer service is it's never the big stuff. It's the little stuff. As you talk about, it's all the 1% stuff we do. It's not the giant breakthroughs. And I once received a 4-page typed letter that was from a mom who had a child with autism that was in the store. And her son was in and had a meltdown. And she was just amazed that our team was supportive and accepting and offered to help in any way they could. And she just couldn't say enough about how grateful she was that they reacted the way they did versus the way other businesses she had been in. And it was all because they were trained that they're the boss. And these are teenagers and college students in the evening when there really are no so-called adults in the store. And that will always stand out in my mind.
Yeah.
The other thing that's always amazing is how many of our team members come back. We've been around for 68 years, so we have a lot of people that come back that have worked here. And they tell us that even to this day, they use the customer service training we gave them in their current jobs.
With that, we'll close part 2. Thanks again, Boomer and Ralph. In the next training session, you'll discover how to get your entire team on board, how to ensure every team member understands and buys into your exceptional customer service expectations, how to ensure that no one ever forgets your customer service expectations. Delivering customer service is fun. The problem with policies, how to ensure your business is always getting better. Customer service is an attitude, not a department. Everyone is in the customer service department. How to give exceptional customer service even when you're overloaded, and what customers really want, and how to put it all together and train your team to deliver make you happy customer service every time. If you want to see the system that Rolf and Boomer use to train their teams, go to www.keithlee.com/CSS. Again, that's www.keithlee.com/CSS. To watch the next training session right now, click the button below. If you don't see a button below, or if you want to watch video 2 at any other time, look for an email that we'll send you that contains a link for video number 2. You can come back to that link anytime and start watching the next video. If you're ever having problems accessing this training, or if you have any other questions, just email us at info@keithlee.com and we'll get you the help you need. And now, always remember to do what you do so well that people can't help telling others about you.